Hi, I'm Michael. That's my GitHub and Twitter handle, if in case, things. So today I'm going to be talking about a thing that I've made. I made a web app. It's pretty cool. It's called Guild Wars 2 Armory. There's the address. Feel free to go and look if you'd like. So what am I going to be talking about today? I'm going to give you guys some background information, talk about some of the front-end challenges I had making the app. I'll talk about moving from Angular to React. I know maybe that's a hot topic, I don't know. Then we'll have some questions. Lucky for you guys, you waited around a lot, but my presentation's not going to be that long, so 40 minutes is okay, right? It'll be like 20. Cool. So Guild Wars 2. It's a massive multiplayer online game, very similar to World of Warcraft. I assume most people here have played WoW, right? Like, we're all nerds. Anyone? No. Cool. Guild Wars 2. For me, one of the biggest reasons why I play games online, other than to have fun, is primarily to show off to my friends and tell them why I've got better gear than them. So I didn't really have a way to do this on Guild Wars. WoW had one, the Armory. Coincidence. But Guild Wars didn't have one. But what Guild Wars did have was a sweet set of APIs that I could use and make something. So about a year ago, I figured, hey, why don't I make something? And then I can finally show my friends my stuff. So before I keep going and we talk about some of the interesting challenges, let's just have a quick look at the website. So this is it. I'll just exit full screen for a second. Don't break. Cool. All right, so Guild Wars 2 Armory, this is the front page. You can search characters, you can search your users, guilds, cool. Take note of this. If you see the header, you see the background image, it like sticks. I'll talk about this later. Cool. So, all right, so I guess we'll just keep going through. I like burgers. You guys like burgers? Yeah. Let's search for burgers. All right, cool. Found a burger. So, user page. This guy's like crazy playerverse environment stuff. He's done like every fractal, every raid boss. This dude's a boss. Has some characters, guilds, recent matches. It's okay, we won't go through everything. There's no time for that. And there's no golden pizza left, so. But this guy has characters, and he has this cool thief. Sorry, Reaper. I can't read. Yeah, tooltips, items, specializations, all the things that you need to show your friends why you're good. There's also this like cool statistics thing I made where it like breaks down all the stats of the Armory. Yeah. For some reason, there's more females than males. I don't understand. I thought there weren't any girls on the internet. Anyway, cool. I mean, that's basically like a little entry point. There's a leaderboard as well, but we don't need to get into that. Cool. So back into the presentation. So I have been working on this for like a bit over a year. There were a lot of interesting challenges, both front end and back end, but obviously tonight I'll just talk about the front end stuff. So tonight I want to talk about three things that I found, I don't know, fun, interesting. You might recognize this. So this was the first challenge. When I was making this initially, I don't know, I didn't really have the best ideas, I think. Maybe I could have sat on this for a while and thought of better things. But instead of doing that, I jumped right in and I was like, okay, so what I wanted to happen is, so sticky header. What I wanted to happen, right, is you'd scroll down and then the background image would stick. So in my mind, the easiest way to do that was to set some CSS transforms on like a fixed image, and then when you're scrolling down, just like translate it up. And then when you get to a threshold, just stop. If you can imagine this, I don't know if you can, I don't know if I'm explaining this great, but it didn't work very well. We can kind of see like a little bit of an example implementation. It's just like, when the component mounts, we'll add an event listener, and then when it scrolls, it'll just set some styles. Didn't really work great. So I think that like the biggest problem was I was trying to make the browser do a lot of work when it didn't really need to. So basically the best fix for this was, let's figure out how we can make the browser basically do nothing, but make it look like it's like working really well. So I guess the main like resulting implementation was I would just have two images, and it would look like it's one image, but really there's just some trickery and foolery behind it, and it just shows it and hides it depending on the scroll position. And it actually worked really well. Like it didn't matter how fast or how slow you scrolled, it worked really well. And I know what you're thinking, this is such a superfluous, silly thing, but hey, I really enjoyed making it. It was cool. Anyway, so from there, I made like this little tooltip mouse follow system. As you can see, my little GIF, it just follows the mouse when you hover over an item. So the initial implementation was, again, I need to sit down and think about things more, but this was the first implementation where I was thinking, okay, if the tooltip goes outside of the viewport, what should I do? My first thought was, okay, we can just flip it, and then it'll still be in the viewport, right? But what this did cause was a bunch of user experience problems in that when you're looking at the tooltip and then it flips, you kind of like need to look up and you're like, okay, that's weird. And then there were some other technical issues where if I hovered from one item, you see, okay, cool. If I was like went from this to this one and it was already flipped, again, sorry if this explanation is terrible. It's okay. We all make mistakes. There'll be like this initial flip where it would like be flipped on the top and then immediately flip down. It was terrible. So yeah, that wasn't good, right? So what could I do to fix that? It turned out the best way was just to do like it actually was less lines of code as well, where I would just stick the tooltip to the edge of the viewport, and that's it. The user experience problems goes away. The user isn't confused because the tooltip isn't like miraculously moving across the page. It just works really well. Cool. Any questions so far? No? Just checking. So for the next thing I did, I have a lot of content on the Armory, and I didn't have enough people using it. So in my mind, I was thinking, okay, what can I do to get more people to know about the Armory? And what I came up with, and I think there's a few other third-party game websites that do this, is just have an embed system where people could go to my website, copy a script and some HTML, paste it on their website, and then just get my stuff for free. I thought it was pretty cool. So when I kind of started working on this feature, I initially used iframes, and it was easy. It was simple, and it worked. People started using it. It was fantastic. But there was one problem. Before I get in there, push button, receive embeds. Cool. This was a legitimate endpoint, by the way. It was a character embed. Fantastic. So, the biggest drawback, right, was I was using iframes, which no one likes iframes. I feel like if anyone mentions iframes at work, they're always like, gives me a dirty look. I don't know about you guys. Anyway, so things can't be drawn past iframes, right? So when I have a tooltip and it's inside the iframe, it's all fucked up. It doesn't work very well. And as we've seen with these are some big tooltips, right? This is a small tooltip. I'll show you a really big one later if you're interested. But anyway, so things can't be drawn past iframes. So what can we do? If anyone's used this website, they have this little cool embed system. I didn't really copy the implementation, but just the idea of I can actually add a script as well as the div, and then let the script handle all the magic. So since iframes were the limiting factor, I kill iframes, and things can start working a little better. So in the new world, instead of just putting an iframe in, they would come in and copy this code. And what it is just a div that's explaining which embed they want and some options. For this embed, it's just the name. And then there's also the async script below it. So then when the page successfully loads, this would get triggered. And then everything, like where all the embed divs are, they would be enriched. And they would receive embeds. So it works really well. I think the biggest problem right now is I have to worry about anyone consuming my embeds where their styles are affecting me. I had to do a lot of like little small overrides to ensure things didn't get really weird. Like some guy was using, God, what is that, CMS? It doesn't matter. There's some CMS, and he was setting like global line heights to everything, so I had to override that. Doesn't matter. Anyway, so there is actually a website right now that's using this. The biggest user of the embeds right now is this website. It's a European guild called Quantify. They're like crazy nerds. They have like so many guides about all the professions. I don't know, I think they have too much time on their hands. But yeah, I mean, I feel like they replaced half their site with my embeds. So like we scroll down here and there's just all these guides with all my embeds. So it's a pretty cool feeling. And if you guys know that feeling, like if you post something on the internet and it's wrong, people have to come to you and tell you you're wrong. Have you guys experienced that before? Yep. So like when they implemented my tooltips, all their members started saying the tooltips were wrong. Like they were saying like some of the information just a little bit was incorrect. So then they started making pull requests. So, and the beauty of this is my tooltips get better on the Armory website, and they get better tooltips on their website. So I think it's a win-win. Anyway. So that's about all the components and features I want to talk about. Now, I want to get it back into a time machine and go to 2015, when Angular was still around. So my site used to look like this. We all have this feeling, right? Like we all make shit initially, and then we slowly make it better over time. This was my shit. So when I initially started the Armory, I made it in Angular, and it was really fun. It was all I knew. Don't blame me. And I don't know. I made something. It worked. When I was making the Armory, this cool thing called Redux came in, and I really wanted to get a taste of Redux, right? Everyone was talking about it. I wanted to be cool, so I brought Redux into the Angular Armory app. Here is an example implementation that I ripped out from the legacy code base. I don't really want to explain it because it's Angular, but you can see that there's like some connect things and some actions being dispatched. I even got a mention in Hacker News about this. Like there's a thread, is there any huge web application built using Redux? And then some guy linked me and he's like, in fact, that GW2 Armory app is the biggest one I've seen so far, including some very complex reducers and selectors. I don't know if that was a compliment. Anyway, he got a reply, and the reply was shocked. I don't know, ironic. There was an Angular app using Redux. I don't know, I had fun, man. Anyway, okay, cool. So that was 2015. So let's go back to the future to 2016. And React was this another cool thing that people started using and I wasn't using, and I wanted to be cool. So, I heard about this React thing, and yeah, I guess the rest was history. Here's an example implementation of it in React. Again, I won't really go into it because, of course, we're all professional React devs here. We all know what this looks like. But there's a Redux Connect and dispatching actions as well. I think the big takeaway from this is when I remade all the data layer in my Angular app, in Redux, I could just rip that out. When I made the React one, drop it in, and I didn't really have to do any extra work. It just worked out of the box. I think that was pretty cool. I did kill the Angular app brutally, though. Brutally. So yeah, I mean, the journey still continues. I still actively develop this for fun. Yeah, it's interesting. The guild was to Armory. Sorry, the guild was to like community devs. There's so many of them, and they're all in this Gitter channel, and they all talk shit. I don't know, but it's fun. They're all really nice guys, right? I'm one of those people, by the way. Here are some comments off Reddit. And ArenaNet Dev, the company who makes Guild Wars 2, even commented on one of my threads saying this is sick. So if that's not the greatest compliment I can get, I don't know what is. Yeah, I mean, that's basically it. Does anyone have any questions? This guy.
So in this journey, you just said first it was Angular,
Yep.
then Redux, then React.
Yep.
Now, the logical next step would be Preact.
Preact.
Yeah.
What about Inferno though? I thought Inferno was better than Preact.
Inferno is 9Ks, Preact is 3K.
I can't argue with that logic. Let's go, man.
How do you deal with the nostalgia moving on Angular?
Well, dude, I don't know. Like, I think the moment I had troubles where I had a parent component in Angular and I was trying to pass down a function like 3 components deep, and I had to do this unwrapping bullshit, like I think that was when my relationship with Angular was killed. Josh.
When you talk about your embed system on the other sides
Yeah.
and the CSS sometimes interfering,
Yep.
have there ever been any particularly novel solutions to those problems that you've done to make it a bit more resilient across putting like your HTML in other people's site, or just lots of importance?
What do you mean? No, okay, so I don't have any importance in my code because we're all good web developers here and we all know that importance is a code smell and CSS is not code. But it is Turing complete, I hear. Well, I mean, dude, I just like overrid. So I had like a root, like before we get into the whole web components thing, and maybe I can get into the Shadow DOM thing. I haven't gone there yet. Like right now, I just have my root element for each embed, and I just set like some styles that they were overriding. So for example, the line height thing, I just reset the line height on the root element. I don't know. For now, it's fine because there's only like one major site using it and a ton of like small people. And who cares about small people, right? Yes. Does that answer your question?
Yes.
Cool. Jed?
I have so many questions.
Yeah, sweet.
How much money would you make if you got your embed system to just start serving ads?
Because I could do that. I can do that. It's funny, this website, like, they think I'm a trustworthy person. I don't know. Actually, no, I've got a good story about this. Well, not really, but I couldn't make any money, at least from Google, because they wouldn't let me sell ads because I don't have enough content on my website.
In seriousness, I'm really curious to hear about like the pros, like what was good about Angular that you now know was good because you worked in React, and vice versa. What was really good in React that you didn't have in Angular aside from the unwrapping thing that you mentioned?
I don't know, I have like a love-hate relationship with Angular, right? Like it was really easy to use, but there were still these dark areas in Angular that no one knew what they did. Like, you get into the factories and there was the other thing. You go like a few levels deep, right? There's like services, factories, some other thing I can't remember anymore. There we go. I don't know, I think, I don't really miss Angular to be honest, other than it was easy. With React, when I brought Redux into my Angular app, and I kind of used React a little bit on the side, I stopped thinking about things in an imperative manner. Even when I was writing my code in Angular, I would still be writing it like I would write code in React. I would have my state, and I would render my views based on that state. I wouldn't do any of the old school bullshit where it's like, okay, I'm going to disable this button. This button enabled is false. You know, I completely got that out of my mind after moving to Redux, and then I guess everything kind of flowed through. This doesn't really answer your question because I'm not saying anything good about Angular, but
That's the same question.
yeah.
It's a React meetup.
Yes. I should have worn an Angular shirt to troll you guys, and then ripped it off with a React one underneath. Yeah.
Aside from the consistent state flow that React enforces, if you got Redux anyway, what were the other things that you found really good about React compared to Angular?
Passing functions down to children. I don't know.
Hot reloading?
Hot reloading. Well, I could have had that with Angular anyway. Like, we were all using Webpack these days, right? Does anyone use Browserify?
Yep.
We do it today.
Uh-oh.
Server-side only.
Okay. No, I don't know. Like, I feel like the biggest thing React gave me, and the biggest thing Redux gave me, wasn't the tools of using it. It was the way of thinking about application state and how views are made. That's it. I could have done that in any different framework and use it in a similar way. How about that HTML in JavaScript, the JSX?
Follow-up question.
Oh, God. You're killing me, man.
What,
No, it's fine. Keep going. I'm just kidding. Come on.
CSS and JavaScript. Are you how are you embedding the style sheets in these pages when the embeds are loaded? Are you using inline styles or Aphrodite or style components?
You know, I probably should look into style components. I'm not going to lie. I saw style components first. I was like, this can't be good. But, you know, you're not going to like this answer. It's you know how that Webpack has that tool where it just adds styles like into the head? Yeah.
With embeds though?
Yeah. So okay, I do want to preface this by saying like the embed, like the new embed system. I just did that last week, like really quickly, because like before then it was just iframes. So I'm actually pretty lucky they put it on their website so quick, because I was this close to not having anything to show for that, and they trust me for some reason. But I do need to figure out a better way to do styles for embeds, be it inline styles or another way. Or Shadow DOM, I think that would fix everything. But browser compatibility. Yep. Cool, so thanks for putting up with me.